Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be reviewing a paint pouring kit that is available from The Works in the UK. Not sure if The Works is international, but it's kind of like an art craft store. I came across this paint pouring kit and I couldn't say, I couldn't put it down. As soon as I started reading the contents and then obviously the price, it just kind of jumped out at me, and I thought actually it'd be quite cool to try out and see how it is for anyone who's thinking the same. I did actually find another acrylic paint pouring set in another craft store called The Range. However, it was one of those sets where it just contained like a booklet and a couple of bits. You still had to provide your own canvas and paint, PVA glue, etc., sticks, containers. And whereas this one actually comes with a whole set, just like the Artme that I have done a review for off of Amazon. This one obviously is from The Works and it's not from online, and it's quite big. You probably can't see how big it is, but it's massive. Actually struggled to get it all into the camera. I'm just going to turn it over and show you what is actually included in it. You get quite a lot of, should we say, ingredients in this one. You get all these acrylic paints, PVA glue, some glitter, some silicone oil for the reactions, 2 lots of canvases with 2 different sizes, cups, gloves, sticks, and a paintbrush, which is brilliant because comparing to the Artme set, you only got given 1 canvas, but you had the paints already mixed up, whereas this one you have to make the paints yourself, which is what I'm guessing, but you do have a good 4 goes at the attempts of creating an acrylic pour. So what I'm going to do is going to quickly open this up and try the set out really. I just wanted to see if it's actually any good value, as well as for an alternative to the Artme, just because they are such small paint pots and also because they are more expensive. This set was to work better in my favour as well. Obviously it saves a bit more money as well. It does look like these little pots have gotten a bit damaged, but they're just paper cups, so they shouldn't be a problem. The canvases that we are given, there are 4 of them, 2 different sizes. They are flat canvases, so they're not like board canvases, but it still works just as well. I have worked with board canvases before with acrylic pouring and resin pouring. Works absolutely fine. The only thing you might have is a bit of warpage when it's drying, but it just adds to the experience of it. So you've got the instructions and you've also got the colours, which one has run away. The PVA glue, little caps, some glitter. Already feel like I'm missing something from this set. I feel like you were meant to be given more than just 2 sticks. I will double check that in a second. I've only got 2 sets of gloves when I think I was meant to actually get 4 sets of gloves. So far it's not looking so well, is it? I do have all the paint, I believe. There's 6 lots of paint. I've got my glue, got my pots, got my glitter and silicone oil. I've got a paintbrush. I have got 2 sticks, even though I think I meant to have more. I've got my 4 canvases. I'm just going to take this all out and then read the instructions and go over what we can do to make the first one anyway. Reading the kit set, I actually do have everything here. The gloves were just stuck together, which I didn't realise, just to peel them apart. And then the sticks were hiding underneath a bit of cardboard, so panic over. For the instructions, they're quite, I don't want to say brief, but you do have to mix up the PVA glue and the acrylic paint, which I thought actually when looking at the paint set that the colours would have been already mixed. But I suppose because it is PVA glue, it will separate after a long period of time, or even a short period of time. I think I've gone a week where the glue and then the paint have separated. Just very quickly gone through the instructions. You can have the option to use the silicone oil, but how you prepare it, you don't put it in the pot with the acrylic paints. You prepare it with a bit of water in the pot and then you dab the surface around it to create the reaction. The one thing that did surprise me is that at the very bottom it says that the PVA glue might not cover the whole of the 4 canvases, and like you might need to buy some more for the amount of paint that you're going to need. And also the fact that it can take up to 3 weeks to dry for the acrylic pour to dry anyway. That doesn't really ring alarm bells, but it's just a bit like, oh, is it really going to take that long? I think it's just a warning, just in case you've put it on really thickly. I don't think it will take 3 weeks for acrylic pour to dry, especially with PVA glue. When it starts to set, it doesn't. I don't think I've ever had something take 3 weeks to dry for acrylic pour, but it seems pretty straightforward. It's basically saying how to mix the colours together, either through a flip cup. I think it's mostly flip cups that they are trying to describe. So what I'm going to do is actually mix some of these colours up and get going. I think I'll try a small canvas first, just for safety reasons. Well, not safety reasons, I don't want to use up too much paint. I think I'll go for, we have got 5 little cups, so I think I'm going to go for 1 colour of each. They are all sealed with a bit of tinfoil, I want to say, a sealant. So I'm just going to pick that off. What will be quite interesting is that if the colours are pigmented, because I want to know if, because it looks like you get a bit more, actually get a bit less. The Art Me ones are 60 mil, whereas these are only 36 mil, so you do get more on that, but this is without the pouring medium. Because I need to use 10 mil to 2 parts PVA, which is 20 mil. It says to leave 1 cup for mixing to pour into and then pour onto. The actual acrylic paint is quite liquidy. I can literally just tilt it and it starts to drip out a bit. Okay, so you do get given 5 pots, but it says leave 1 pot to the side to pour into. So technically you'd be using up all 5 pots if you need all 5 colours, which means you won't have a pot to spare. So maybe I'm going to have to leave a colour out. Since I've just put the purple in, I'm going to leave the pink out of it and just use the purple, the green, the black and the blue. So for every 10 mil you need 2 parts of PVA glue, which is 20 mil. The pot of glue is only 120 mil. This is quite thick actually. I would have thought it would be a bit more runnier because it is pouring medium. So technically from just doing 4 of those, I should be 80 mil through this already, so that only leaves me 40 mil, depending on how much this might make. Because I don't know, I did say I was going to use the smaller canvas, but if I think it's going to be more for a bigger canvas, we shall see, because I don't want to end up trying to use a bigger canvas when I don't need to, or I don't have enough for, so I'm going to try for a smaller one. I did forget to mention you're meant to use 60 mil of PVA glue to 20 mils of acrylic paint for the white, so technically should have a bit less of the glue left over. That one's quite, I don't want to say thick, but thick. To me that looks too thick, so I don't know if it's actually going to work. Now I've let this sit to rest, it should be actually halfway down, so I'm just going to add in a bit more of the PVA glue into each. Okay, it does seem a bit more to go around, but still I think it's a little bit too thick. But we will see. We will see. I'm just going to move everything across. Board here is 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters, which is quite small. I would have thought they would put more of the bigger ones, because even though it is a good starter size, because there's less movement, and you're more likely to use a lot more of the acrylic paint the first time. Still a bit undecided about the sizing of the canvas, but it's nice to see that you get more canvases for this pack. Okay, so here's my little pot. As always, I'm just going to move you up a bit, because it is a flip cup. I'm going to do my usual bit of white first. Also, no, I'm not wearing the gloves. I did forget to mention that. I've decided not to wear the gloves because I have used these gloves before, and because I do have eczema on my hands, it does set a reaction, more of a reaction than the acrylic paint and the PVA glue does. But I do suggest that you do wear the gloves just in case you do get a reaction to it. But I wonder if you fill out the pot, that's going to be enough paint for this. But if it's enough paint just for this smaller canvas, how much more paint do you need for the bigger one? If that makes sense. Like if you need 2 pots for the bigger canvas rather than just the 1 pot. Because it will defeat the object of giving you the pots if you need 2 pots to complete the bigger canvas, but it would make sense if you only needed 1 for this canvas. I hope that makes sense, because if not, I'm just waffling now. These colours are really stunning though. I don't think I mentioned that. Like that purple on the tail is really nice. I'm not really a fan of pink anyway, but the pink's okay, I'd say. Shrink out the rest of the colours. Having a small pot does help. I've found to get the rest of the acrylic paints out. Acrylic paints, the pour out. Even though it does go through me, the sound of the stick in the paper. Okay, so that pot is basically almost full. I'm hoping that's going to be enough just for this canvas. If it's not, we're going to be in a bit of trouble with the bigger canvases, because that means we're going to have to create 2 pots. I am thinking that 1 pot will be enough for this, and we're going to have a little bit of leeway, but we'll see. So I'm just going to like do a little flip cup, and I've just realised if you use the bent cup, so that might cause an issue when it comes to pouring it out. It does say for it to leave it alone for like 2 minutes, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to quickly read over the notes just to check I've done everything right. Okay, it's been roughly 2 minutes. As you can tell, there's not actually been much leakage. This bit of black was me by accident. We're just going to see what happens, because, you know, I'm not going to lie, I have a bit of doubt about this because I don't think I've actually got enough acrylic paint for this one area. So I'm just going to lift it up. See what happens. It does say slowly tilt. I'm only stopping the paint come off the canvas because I feel like there's not going to be that much left on the canvas if I try to do it. As you might tell, this is a bit boring. I think once it gets down here, I'm just going to tilt it this way and then call it a day for this bit. Okay, we're definitely at the point where I don't feel like the paint's going to move anymore. There is a step in the instructions that does say you can add a layer of white into the surface, but even with that, I think I would have struggled to fill the whole canvas. I will just top up a bit of white down here and try and not move it about, but interweave it so it has something to react to, because obviously the white, as you can tell, even though I did put loads of it in, it has disappeared from the outside, and I just want to add a bit of whiteness so I can just cover the canvas and for it to not to look so, I don't want to say muddy, but like there is a bit of muddying around, so maybe I do need to up the acrylic paint in the pots. So that's just one thing to note. Okay. What I'm gonna do is, before doing any more acrylic pours with this set, I'm gonna let this one dry. Hopefully it will not take 3 weeks to dry, because that would just be a nightmare. And then do a feedback for it and then carry on the process. I will put it all in this video as well. Okay, so it's now the next day. I am actually going to have a re-attempt at this and use the white negative space, because I think after actually looking at this dried and the instructions, it is probably best to do a white negative space. It is a bit annoying that you can't just use a normal pour cup, so I'm just going to quickly mix up these colours and then we can get going. I am using the other smaller canvas, and then we're going to go into the bigger canvas. Hopefully, if there's enough paint left, there isn't actually as much PVA glue left, because obviously the ratios that you're meant to have via the instructions are for every 20ml of, no, for every 10ml of acrylic paint, you're meant to use 20ml of the PVA glue. And if you're using white, which is what you're more likely to use because it's an easier colour to work with and doesn't really muddy as much as the others, you're meant to use 20ml to every 60ml. So as always, flip this over for 2 minutes, and then, well, trying to get it central, but obviously that didn't happen. Just very quickly, whilst I'm at this set, this is actually one of the skins that I took off the parchment paper. Actually holds really well. I would have thought it would, because it's got PVA glue in, so it's just something to note for an afterthought. If I'm getting these skins, or if I want to mix them with the Classmates, TTS, my other acrylic paints that some of you may be aware of, then I can do, and it won't interact or like separate or not break off like solidly. So that's always a good thing to know, because it can go back in my little bag of skins that some of you may already know about. Okay, it's been approximately 2 minutes. Just gonna lift this up more towards the centre. Fabulous. I feel like the colours have come out a bit more better this time. think I'm going to leave this one like that. I quite like that negative space towards the bottom that hopefully will flatten out. So much better. I do believe that white negative space or any colour negative space around it to help it move along. You saw how much easier it was to make the canvas flow, and it does look like the colours are a bit more vibrant this time, because they're not being rolled underneath. I do think the second time around you are going to be a bit more better at the ratios and how to pour and to tilt and all that lovely stuff. This is only the second smallest canvas. There are the bigger ones, so that could change. I feel like it's going to be a bit more difficult because you're going to need more acrylic paint. I think you're going to need about twice as much, because this is, well, that one's a lot bigger, should we say. So for now, I'm just going to let this one to dry, and I'll bring you back for my next video with the continuation of the two bigger pieces, which I'm going to do both in one video, just because this video is way too long and this is kind of like a first impressions, and I can give my conclusion in the next video as well. So there we have it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like and subscribe to see more videos like this. Don't forget to also check out the links in my description box, which has my eBay selling account and a couple other videos if you'd like to see them. But until next time, I shall see you guys later. Bye!